Yeah, well, joining us now is Professor at RMIT University, Joe Siracusa. Good morning to you, Joe. There's a bit to chew through here, but I guess the London terror attack is the biggest story that's taking place at the moment. What we've spoken earlier, we find a bit peculiar, is Jeremy Corbyn's stance that seems to go soft on Islamic extremists who've been imprisoned at a time when tensions are very high. I'm just sort of wondering how far he's going to get with that stance, particularly in an election cycle. Doesn't usually go that way because people want to get tough on crime, particularly terrorism, when it happens.
Well, yes. Good morning, everybody. I think Corbyn's in a very difficult spot. Remember now, he was going to fight this election over Brexit, but Brexit has been pushed into the background in favor of this new issue, security and terrorism.
Yeah.
And the British terrorism laws prove that, well, they don't work. I mean, you had a recidivist, that is a guy who had been committed to prison for terrorism, released, I guess, early, and then he committed another crime. So, you know, people worry about that more than a lot of other things, and I don't blame them. Just come from a country where there's a policeman or a soldier on every corner in India or in New Delhi. So, look, the war on terror and terrorism is foremost in people's minds, and I think Corbyn is just, he's not prepared to shift on this. Look, Corbyn's never been very quick on his feet, and Boris Johnson now is going to come down like a ton of bricks. And of course, he's got the president in town, and it's funny about President Trump. Every time he wants to avoid Congress going after him, he becomes presidential and goes somewhere, or he goes to Afghanistan or whatever it is. So, yeah, it's getting very complicated there, but it's an important feature because, you know, British terrorism laws, anti-terrorism laws, are followed all over the world, and no more so than in Australia. So we're going to be looking very closely at what went wrong. And, of course, it always goes wrong. You know, every time there is a terrorist, we find out they were on the radar. No one connected the dots. But in this case, they did connect the dots, and they let him go again to commit another crime. So, and this, of course, gives heart to terrorists all over the world who are ready for their Christmas Christmas carnage, because this is a good time of year for them to go into Christmas settings, whether it's a fair in Germany or someplace like that. So we'll be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, London had just downgraded its terror alert from something like extreme to very high, and that is cold comfort for these victims. Just on Donald Trump and his willingness to at least seem like he's meddling in the UK elections, what effect do you think he will have? Because he's been very critical of Jeremy Corbyn, but as we just reported, Boris Johnson is wanting to keep his distance from President Trump too.
Look, and Laura, well, he should keep his distance. Look, the President of the United States is a marked man. You know, the Congress is going after him. He's going to be impeached. Right now, he's as toxic as hell, and people should stay away from him, and they want to stay away from him. They don't want to be seen with photographs of the rest of it, and the President, of course, doesn't hesitate to weigh into other people's elections. So I think Corbyn is off balance, and I think Boris Johnson will keep the President at arm's length. And the president has gone to London to escape the heat at home. So,
and you think he'll be impeached in the Senate?
Of course he's going to be. Well, look, conventional wisdom. Everybody in the business, that is congressmen, senators, and former intelligence people, they all say he's going to be impeached because the House has the numbers. I predicted on your show months ago, or even a year ago, as soon as the House of Representatives got the numbers, they were going to go after him. I thought it was inevitable because it's the one thing that they can do. And right now, careers are being made. You know, people are going to have to decide 5 years down the road whether it was a good idea or a bad idea to impeach the president. And so I believe he will be impeached. And I believe there will be a trial in the Senate, and he'll be let off the hook. And, of course, there's always a possibility that the president's health could collapse later on in the year. And, of course, those investigations in New York going after his foundation and his family are beyond the president's ability to issue a parole.
But Donald Trump is as fit as a fiddle, Joe. Didn't you see that picture of him superimposed over Rocky last week?
Yes, fit as a fiddle. That was on page 1 in the New Delhi Times.
Well, there you
they got a kick out of that.